Hello and welcome to Highlights. My name is Jim Strawn, host of the program. Highlights from the heart of our community is brought to you through a collaboration between Jim Strawn and Company, the Media Center, and HD Media. And if you're a regular viewer of our show, and of course we certainly hope that you are, you know how much we love to focus on those grassroots organizations, grassroots people, charitable, not-for-profit groups, and sometimes even businesses that are just moving the state of West Virginia, doing spectacular, phenomenal work to make our great state of WV and our Canal Valley and our city of Charleston, West Virginia, a much better place to live, learn, work, and to play. And on today's Highlights program, we're going to feature actually 3 different organizations that are doing just that. This time of year is very active, so we got 3 organizations we're going to feature today. First, we're going to catch up with a good friend of mine, Barry Skeenes. Barry's the musical director at the Calvary Baptist Church. We're going to welcome back the Freedom Concert after a 3-year hiatus. The last one we did was in 2019, so I look forward to catching up with him. And then after we talk to Barry, we're going to catch up with a couple of guys who are bringing back the 61st, not annual, but 61st Charleston Public Courts Tennis Tournament. Just like the Freedom Concert, we haven't done that since 2019. So the tennis tournament is coming back. We'll be talking with Rory and Nate about that. Then we're going to conclude this episode of the Highlights from the heart of our community by featuring Capital Market. The Capital Market, we're going to be talking with their director, Evan Osborn. Lots of things happening in June, July, August, into the fall at the Capital Market. So as you can see, lots of great insight coming your way, lots of really good information. Sit back, relax, soak it all in, take it all up, take notes, but just listen intently and you'll learn a lot after today's Highlights program. To get things rolling, I turn to my right and I welcome into the Highlights program Barry Skeenes. Barry, how are you?
I'm doing fine.
It's good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
It's been 3 years since I've seen you.
It's been 3 years.
Gosh, darn it.
I've been so depressed.
Yeah, well, you love music. You are the music director, Calvary Baptist, and we haven't had a chance. You've been doing this, is it called the Freedom Concert now?
Freedom Celebration.
The Freedom Celebration. Freedom Celebration in conjunction with festival. And so we haven't had it since 2019, 2020. We all know what happened. 2021, still a little iffy. And quite frankly, 2022, you weren't sure you were going to do it, right? Talk a little bit about where we've been and what we're doing.
Yeah, we were looking ahead as to when we were going to start and come back, because we also do a similar scale for a Christmas program, lessons of carols. And I didn't think that we were going to we'd be able to do it this year, because by the time COVID had let up, it was too late. It was much later in the season for me to get started on the program. But I got numerous calls from the singers, and they were saying, "Are we going to do it? Are we going to do it? Are we going to?" So it's like, well, okay, then I'll canvass the area, and everyone wanted to do it, and we have more people signed up this year than ever before.
You're mentioning all these singers, and we're talking with Barry Skeenes, the musical director with Calvary Baptist Church. It is time for, let me correct myself, it's the 6th Freedom Celebration. The Freedom Celebration, June the 25th. It's a Saturday at 1 p.m. at Calvary Baptist Church on the corner of Maryland and Lee on the west side of Charleston, the best side of Charleston. These singers that you mentioned, it's a collaboration, right? So you get these community singers, and the Freedom Celebration, I always describe it as a very powerful and moving, patriotic 60 minutes. How would you describe it?
Well, we try to do God and country.
Okay.
I didn't intend that, first of all, for this particular program, but it evolved into that. And goodness, the music out there is so appropriate for a chorus with a full orchestra. And so we bring that out. It's always been a standing ovation, you know. So we're looking forward to having a bigger audience this time.
You're already in rehearsals?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
Been rehearsing.
Yes.
So on June 25th at 1, it's a free concert. Free concert. Folks can come. Please come. It's complimentary to come to the corner of Maryland and Lee, Calvary Baptist Church, Saturday, June the 25th. The 6th Freedom Celebration. 60 minutes, as I mentioned, God and country. This year, it looks like the theme, we just had it up on the screen. We may be able to put it up again. But Rosie the Riveter, I noticed her on the flyer. Is what does she have to do with this? Are you trying to do some things around her, Rosie the Riveter, or that's just a nice God and country theme, and everybody knows Rosie the Riveter.
Right. No, she does fit into the program because we do. It's a freedom celebration, not just freedom for the United States, but freedom broader than that. And we've done some things for the plight of some of the people early in our country, enslavement, and et cetera. And so we target many different types of freedom. And Rosie the Riveter, I came across that, and I remembered from years back, Rosie the Riveter. And it was amazing, phenomenal what they did. They had, I believe it was over 300,000 ladies just in the Air Force alone working, and that was like 65% of the workforce in World War II, which is amazing. And I've read in the paper recently, one of the ladies had died. I think she was 101, but maybe. And so it looked like it would be a perfect theme for it. And we usually try to have a little bit of an edge to the program, so it gives us more of a focus. And our advertisements do show Ruby the Riveter when she's the famous
Rosie the Riveter with her very iconic symbol there.
Yes.
And you mentioned she was from the greatest generation. Many of our veterans who served. There's not many left, just like there's not very many Rosies left as well. I did a show a couple years ago and had a couple Rosies on, and
did you?
they were in their 90s, doing well. But just like the greatest generation, eventually it's nice to pay homage to them and honor them. And boy, did they have just as much to do with the success of the WW2 as the folks who served. So that's pretty neat. I want to mention Ed Rabel. Ed does a great job. There's a part that you do every year where he narrates, and I always just go, wow, that's a pretty powerful voice and just a very powerful piece that you do with him. Talk a little bit about that piece.
Well, that's the Declaration of Independence.
Right.
Maybe you're not familiar with it out in the public, but yeah, it's. He reads the Declaration of Independence, and he does have a fabulous voice. He was, you may remember, he was a news correspondent for CBS and NBC from, I think it was from in the early 70s.
He's a local guy. He's a
90s.
West Virginian, Charlestonian.
Yes.
And so you get him to do that, and it is really neat to hear him narrate that with your music behind you.
Oh, absolutely.
How many members, Barry, will you have? What is the chorus made up of? How many instruments? How many singers? What's the choir made up of?
There are people from many organizations. Some of the area choirs, choruses, a number of churches, and we'll have as many as 15. I'm not sure what it is this year, of different organizations that we have people participating from. In the orchestra, we have people from some of the local bands who are playing, and the strings we usually have from the symphony. So we have some quality musicians, and people come away saying, wow.
About how many will make up the choir? 20, 30, 40, 50, 60?
40 plus.
About 40 plus, yeah.
Right.
That's pretty good. And you mentioned all the collaboration with other churches and strings and different organizations who play the music. You also are collaborating. Your big partner is Festival Charleston.
Yes.
We're bringing Festival Charleston back again for the first time. Face to face, we've done some virtual things, but everybody knows it's just not quite the same. But now we're doing some in-person events. You are one of them. How did the collaboration with Festival begin?
Well, it began with the first program that we did, and it was just a 4th of July program. It was relatively small for the church. And we brought some instruments in and some singers, and we just happened to think, well, that's right during the festival. So I thought, it was late in the season. I thought, well, wonder if we could get in. And so we made the contacts, and they reviewed what we were doing, and they said, yeah, you could go ahead and do it. And we started making calls with all the volunteers, and it really just took off from there. And so it's become the annual event.
Folks are watching this, and maybe they want to get some more information. I don't have the number right in front of me. Do you have a telephone number folks can call the church and just say, hey, I'd like to talk to Barry or get more information about this celebration?
Absolutely. One number would be 304-761-2807.
2807.
And the other one would be 304-343-4391.
4391.
Either of those, you'd be able to get someone from the church or me.
Very good. And of course, it's one of those complimentary celebrations during festival. We know there's lots of events during festival, typically up over 100, 120, 130. We tried to schedule this. We didn't try to schedule this. We scheduled this at 1 o'clock. I've talked to Barry off air. At 1 o'clock, we know there's a big event, the Wine and the Jazz Festival happening starting at 3 o'clock that day on the campus of University of Charleston. This is a great way to warm up your Saturday, June the 25th, the Freedom Concert, Freedom Celebration, if you will. You can go to www.festivalcharleston.com to learn all about the festival events, but you can also see this Freedom Celebration listed there as well. The 6th one, looking forward to the 7th and 8th and 9th and 10th, but let's get the 6th one out of the way first, right? Get it right. So we hope folks come. Barry, if folks haven't been, they've never been to this event. I've been 3 or 4 times. I love going over to it now. It's a very powerful 1 hour. If folks haven't come, why should they come to this event?
The quality, the level of it, and the emotional impact that it has on people. Our last program was in 2019, as you said, and we had some folks stand up during the entire reading of the Declaration, and afterwards, people were saying they were talking about being in tears, and so it's a very moving, and the music that we use is a broad range. Some of it is a little fun with hijinks, but most of it is deeply felt music that people can relate to, and that gives the audience something to walk away from, saying, again, wow. And they'll say even, why aren't more people here, than what we have? So, and we have a good attendance.
That is your invitation to come to join Barry and his choir June the 25th, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a Saturday during festival, Calvary Baptist Church, the corner of Maryland and Lee. I echo his remarks. I've been to this thing. It is quite moving, quite powerful. There's no reason really not to come. It's a complimentary celebration, and as you mentioned, high level, high skilled, lots of wonderful musicians, and it's just with all the divisiveness and with all the things that are going on wrong in our society, this is one thing. If you come and spend 60 minutes, you'll go, okay, this is very right. This is very right. Barry, good luck to you. I will be there.
Thank you very much.
I will be there. We hope you're there as well on June the 25th. Now, as promised at the top of the show, when I come back, I'll be joined by Rory and Nate. We're going to be talking about the 61st Charleston Public Course Tennis Tournament, and I'll be right back. This time, we'd like to thank our partners and our sponsors for the highlights from the Heart of Our Community television show. Thank you very much to our HD Media, the host of our show. Thank you to the Media Center for all the production support that they provide. And thank you, of course, to my company, Jim Strawn and Company. We appreciate the collaboration. Thank you to all of our sponsors and all of our partners. And it's great to be joined by Rory Isaac, my good friend Rory. Rory, how are you?
I'm doing well, Jim. How are you?
Good to see you. You brought your buddy Nate Burton?
I did.
Nate Burton. Nate, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Nate, now you're the athletic director at West Virginia State University, but you're here with a kind of a different hat on, maybe a little bit with West Virginia State, but you're part of the 61st Charleston Public Courts Tennis Tournament now.
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk about your involvement and how West Virginia State got involved. But Rory, I want you to talk to the audience about how exciting it is to have it back. We haven't had this tournament since 2019. So talk about that first, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the humble beginnings and how this began 60 years ago. How excited are you to have it back, first of all?
We are thrilled to have it back.
I bet.
And to be just completely honest, without West Virginia State, we wouldn't have it back. And, Kim and I and Tom and Jack, we sat around and we talked. Dave Stacy, George Bashera, guys, Dana Eddy, you know all these guys.
That have been mainstays with the tournament.
With this tournament. We all talked about it and said, maybe 60's enough. Maybe it's time to let this go. And we kept hearing from people, look, when are you bringing when is Public Courts going to play again? And so we started talking about we had to have another partner. I mean, we had to find someone who could sustain this going forward. And Dave Stacy was the one who said, hey, Rory, what about West Virginia State? I said, Dave, I like that idea a lot.
You even said, Dave, maybe that could have been one of your best ideas
Yeah,
you've ever had.
I did. I said, Dave, that's one of the best ideas you've ever had.
That's classic.
But anyway, I talked to Tom Hanna, who is really the godfather in terms of people who did. I don't know if you know this, but Scotty Malcolm and Don Vriedeveld both passed away in the last year and a half, and they were very much mainstays in public courts too. So, part of this, and I can get emotional talking about this. This really and truly has such a history. It's been so important to Charleston for so long, and just letting it go was a hard thing to sort of stomach.
Before I come over to Nate and get his perspective on why they got so involved in this, this is the 61st, obviously started 60 years ago. We're in the Charleston newspaper building as we tape this with the Media Center and HD Media. Talk about who actually had this idea to begin with.
Yeah, and that irony that we are in this building is not lost on me at all. Ned Chilton, who used to be the publisher of the Gazette, felt like that tennis was too exclusive. And there were no tournaments for public courts players.
Just anyone to play. Just
anyone to play. And he wanted to start a tournament. And if you were a member of a club and you played at a club, in the beginning you couldn't play in this tournament. It was for public courts players, and that's thus the name of the tournament. And so he started it, and that's how it started. And it was mostly recreational players in the beginning, and the newspaper, obviously with Ned, they had this huge banquet. The newspaper paid for everything. They had this huge banquet at Edgewood Country Club for the champions. It's kind of, it's obviously it's much bigger today, but still, this was started for inclusiveness and diversity. That's why it was started. That's why West Virginia State University is such a fabulous partner.
And we certainly appreciate Ned Chilton's vision. And I think we have the logo. And if you see the logo, it's a couple of rackets and maybe a tennis ball. There it is now. You can see down in the corner there it says Dent. I have a funny feeling that was Jim Dent, the humorist from the Gazette.
Absolutely Jim Dent.
I have a funny feeling, and Ned said, "Hey Jim, give me a logo," and that's it there.
That was exactly the logo that he came with. And Jim, the interesting story about that is, Jim Dent used to run this tournament with pencil and paper.
I love Jim Dent.
He ran this tournament with pencil and paper. He did the scheduling. A funny story about the scheduling when they used to do it by hand is Jim passed it off to Jack Harrison. And one day Jack went to his office at Goodwin & Goodwin, where he's been for a long time, and the air conditioning went out. And this is done in July. So Jack is in his office. This is a true story. He's going to kill me for telling this on air, but he deserves it. It got so hot that he stripped down to his underwear, and somebody walked into his office, and there are all these draw sheets on his wall, and Jack is in there in his underwear,
keeping up with the
thing, putting all the brackets out and doing the schedule for the next day. But anyway, that's some of the history. This tournament has just an incredible history.
Yeah, I love the history. Nate, we have a lot to hold up to here, don't we?
A lot of pressure.
You're fully clothed, I see that. But Nate Burton's with us, athletic director with West Virginia State University, new and critical partner, it sounds like, for the public courts. Nate, you got a call. Why is this a good move for you guys?
Yeah, Rory and Dave called me and said, I'd like to come meet with you about the Charleston Public Courts tennis tournament. And I'm from Charleston, so I grew up 8 blocks from the Walt Powell, and that's what we used to call it, the Stonebaum tennis courts. And immediately after that phone call, started thinking about how can we partner. And then they came and met with us, and they asked us to partner with them. And being from Charleston, I knew about the Charleston Public Courts tennis tournament. I learned the background about Ned Chilton and the Chilton family, and we wanted to be involved.
61st Charleston Public Courts tennis tournament. Now West Virginia State University is involved. We're going to be playing on what we always called it the old Watt Powell, but that's the Schoenbaum courts now, right? Yes, we're going to play over there in Canal City in behind, well, it used to be left field. Now it's not left field, over there by the Cancer Center. And you guys got involved. So this is going to happen, Nate, July the 8th through the 16th. And as Rory kind of indicated, there's a lot of players, a lot of divisions, a lot of tennis. You don't get behind. That was a cute question I think somebody had. What do you do when you get behind? We don't get behind, right?
I actually asked that question.
Did you ask that? Like, we don't get behind.
And Kim answered him quickly.
Yeah, so if someone's in their wares keeping track of it, or if Jim's dancing with his pencil and paper, that's a little more sophisticated than that. But it runs for 8-9 days there. How can folks get involved? How can they get registered? We haven't had this for 3 years. We don't want folks to forget about it. We wanted to bring it back. Rory's getting the phone calls. It is coming back. Folks are watching this show. Oh my gosh, it's back. How do I get involved, Nate? What do you say?
There's over 50 events. We have 8+ junior events and over 40 adult events. You can find out all of the information on our Facebook page, the 61st Charleston Public Courts Tennis Tournament. We have all the information on there about how to register, scholarship information, any information you have, but then they can reach out to me in my email. My email's on that Facebook page as well.
So we're going to put the Facebook up. I want you to say it again a little bit slow. 61st?
61st Charleston Public Courts Tennis Tournament.
And that's a Facebook page.
That is, yes, sir.
And we're going to keep that up with all the information, how
Absolutely.
to get registered, how to get involved, maybe apply for a scholarship. It's pretty affordable. Obviously, it's public courts, and that wanted it to be all-inclusive, right?
Yeah,
Rory?
and you're exactly right. And Jimmy, I'm glad you made that point, because one of the things that when we met with Nate, we said, Nate, look, a lot of tournaments in this town cost $35, $40 to enter. We've always kept public, and it was one of the things when Tom and Jack turned the tournament over to Kim and I 20-something years ago now. They said, this has to be affordable. I said that to Nate, and Nate said, we concur completely. West Virginia State is just going to be the perfect partner. First of all, they're excited about being involved. They really are. And, you know, we give scholarships every year. They're going to continue that tradition. And we told them, look, you don't have to do any of that. Because they're going to take the tournament over. We are sort of going to work with them this year.
The transition.
We're going to transition it to Nate, and Nate's put a team together at West Virginia State with his coaches and some of his players and stuff, and they're going to sort of take this whole thing over and continue it into the future, which is just fabulous.
Rory, you mentioned Kim, your wife. You guys have been involved with this. Jack Harrison's still around. You have a lot of institutional knowledge about the history and how it runs and why we do it. So you're just going to slowly transition that over to Nate. It's not going to take Nate a long time to learn that, because he's from Charleston. He knows the course. It's a natural fit.
It's a perfect fit.
Very
it really
good.
is. And the other thing is West Virginia State University is a public university. This is a public courts tournament. And the other thing that I think is really exciting this year, Alex Lawrence, who passed away sadly a few years ago, was a mainstay in this tournament. He and his partners, and he's had multiple partners through the years, one of the things that Kim and I are trying to do is to track down exactly how many tournaments in his division he won, but it's over 15. We think it's somewhere between 15 and 22. Tom and I were talking about it the other day. But his widow, Kim Lawrence, just so generous. She called Tom and said, hey, I want to do something for Charleston Public Courts. And so this year, for the very first time, and at least for the next 5 years, Kim is going to give a scholarship to an incoming freshman for $25,000 to be distributed over 8 semesters to someone who keeps the requisite GPA and is a full-time student. And that really is a big deal. I mean, we've given away probably, I don't know, $250,000, $300,000 worth of scholarships through the years. But Kim by herself will give $125,000 worth of scholarships over the next 5 years.
First I heard of that, and I knew Alex, I know Kim very well. Nate, that's pretty powerful. Yeah. I was going to segue in, but this might even be a better segue. Not only is this a good match for West Virginia State Public University, but you guys are pretty powerful on the tennis court with your program. I mean, you were humble not to say anything about it yet, but you guys kind of dominate the league in tennis.
we let our talk in on the court. But our women's tennis team, I mean, they're a dynasty.
Yeah.
I mean, multiple Sweet 16 appearances. I think 13 out of the last 15 conference championships. So very successful program. A lot of them will be involved with the tournament.
Will they play in it or just help you, or both?
We'll have a couple play in it,
Nice.
But then our coaches will be involved. Rita Williams, who we just now announced as our head women's tennis coach, he'll be helping out a lot. He doesn't know that yet, but he will be helping out a lot. But yes, So the very, very good, I call it a dynasty, but our most
I think it
decorated
is.
sport.
No, I
absolutely.
that's why I mentioned it. I was going to mention it, and then that segue with the Lawrence has really made good sense.
Enrico will play in the tournament. He always has. He plays in it every year. So that's he's been playing in it since he was at University of Charleston playing tennis there. So
This has been fascinating. We probably could talk a little bit longer, but I think we got the nuts and bolts in. We have been talking with Rory, Lsaac, and Nate Burton, the 61st. After 3 years, we're bringing it back, the Charleston Public Courts Tennis Tournament. Do you have a parting shot, Rory?
the last thing I want to say is those players who understand and play in a lot of tournaments, who know how to get into USTA, the tournament will be up. It's up now, and they can go straight to USTA. They don't even have to go to the Facebook page if they know how to do that, and they'll be able to register and pay their entrance fees. And we're just really, really excited. And I think we would be remiss if we didn't mention our sponsors, because we could not do this without our sponsors.
You have some of those.
And I do.
We'll make sure we get them in there.
You know, here are our sponsors: Encova, MRC Global, Rob Wealth Advisors, West Virginia Ortho Neuro, who's a new sponsor, Truist, who's a long-term sponsor, Advanced Physical Therapy is a new sponsor, CATA, the Charleston Area Tennis Association, is a sponsor, and Astorg Motors.
Very good.
And the
That's
City
a nice
of Charleston
list.
and the Gazette Mail.
Well, it takes a village.
So it takes
I
a
love our
village.
sponsors. I'm glad you remember to get those in. Nate, do you have a parting shot for the audience? You know, why they should get involved? Happy that it's back, and happy that you guys are involved.
You won't see me in my underwear.
Okay,
So
good.
That's a good. But
That's
no,
a selling point.
No, we're just honored to be involved with the tournament. We appreciate the opportunity. No pressure, a couple of years off, maybe first time out. But we just hope all of Charleston, whether you're a tennis player or not, just if you're just live in Charleston, just come out and support this tournament.
That's a good point. July the 8th through July the 16th, the 61st Charleston Public Courts Tennis Tournament is back. Check out the Facebook page to get all your information. Best of luck to you two. Roy,
Thank you.
My best
Thank
to Kim.
you, Jim. I appreciate
Nate,
it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
brother.
so much.
And as I promised at the top of the show, 3 segments today on the highlights from the Heart of the Community television program. Up next, we'll be talking with Evan Osborn. Of course, Evan is our new director with the Capital Market, and I'll be right back. And we are back. What a great highlight show we're having. Boy, I've really enjoyed talking with Barry Skeenes, the musical director with Calvary Baptist Freedom Celebration coming up June the 25th, 1 o'clock, corner of Maryland and Lee, Calvary Baptist Church. And then what a lively conversation with Rory, Lsaac, and Nate Burton. We're bringing back the return of the 61st Charleston Public Courts Tennis Tournament. Great conversation there. Now, as promised at the top of the show and throughout, I'm joined on the highlight set by my good friend Evan Osborn. Evan, how are you?
Jim, I'm fantastic.
Good.
Thank
You look
for having me.
fantastic. Yeah. You are the director of,
Yeah.
of the Capital Market.
Believe it or not,
Pretty new role for you, right?
very new.
How about 3 or 4 months, 6 months? I forget.
Just basically.
Basically, yeah. So you worked at the Capital Market.
Yes, sir.
When did you start actually working?
So I've been there just shy of 3 years.
So you
now.
started working there just a little bit shy of 3 years, as you mentioned, and became the director here the last 3 or 4 months.
Correct.
How's it going?
It's going well.
You like it, don't you?
I love it.
I think you're in your element, by the way,
I feel like I found my calling.
because you like. This is my perception.
Sure.
You enjoy talking to the vendors who are farmers and people who like to grow flowers and business people who are trying to make a living from in the agricultural world.
Absolutely.
But then you also like to talk to the corporations and get sponsors. You like to sell tickets. You like to hang out with the patrons at the market. You like to shuck and jive with the vendors. I think you like it, Evan. That's just me. Am I right?
You're absolutely correct.
What's going on this summer at the Capital Market? I tell you what, I won't ask that question like that. I know there's lots going on at the Capital Market this summer. I see you. I talk to you all the time. I'm over there quite often. Let's talk about an event, as we call it, the return of Let's Get Cooking.
Absolutely.
So Let's Get Cooking with Chef Paul Smith. It returns to the Capital Market, very popular, but it's going to kind of return the way it used to look, kind of in person, right? June the 16th. As we tape this show, it'll be on this week, June the 16th, and we typically start that at 11 o'clock.
11:30.
11:30 in the market. talk to the folks if they don't have any idea what the heck I'm talking about. Let's Get Cooking with Chef Paul Smith. What is that?
So if you've never been, it's an opportunity to really kind of highlight what makes the market so special. And Chef Paul does a fantastic job of utilizing not only the vendors within the market, but the ingredients that are seasonally appropriate. So we're going to run this event now through October, and each month.
It's the third Thursday.
Third Thursday
of every month, beginning June the 16th. So there'll be another episode in July and August and September?
September and October.
And October. So 5 coming up.
Yep,
Okay, very
absolutely. Good. And so this is presented in part with support from AARP.
Nice.
What we do every month is really highlight what's in season at the market. And not only does Chef Paul prepare a meal using fresh seasonal ingredients, but he really explains about how to shop the market and shop what's in season. So, the tomato that you get in June is going to look far different than the one you're going to get in August. And, if you're trying to use things that are at the peak and height of their flavor, it's really a great opportunity to learn how to do that.
It's a cooking show.
For sure.
Outside with a portable so-called makeshift kitchen
Yeah.
underneath the canopies at the market.
Absolutely.
What a great setting.
You can't beat it.
And Paul, he's pretty good, by the way.
He's done this once or twice.
He's done this once or twice. He's a great chef, but he's just a brilliant communicator. He really resonates well with the audience, whether you're there or it's also filmed. So he just really does a great job.
Well, and the great thing is that the shows really run the gamut. So, if you enjoy fine dining or, something more casual, really he does a great job of tailoring it to all needs and tastes. And
Evan, before we talk about some of the regatta events and what's going to happen throughout the summer, and we're kind of recapping and getting reinvigorated with Let's Get Cooking with Chef Paul Smith, before we talk about some other events, let's talk generally about the Capital Market. Maybe somebody's watching this and they haven't had a chance to get down to the Capital Market, which, by the way, was just named by the Charleston CVB, the Visitors Bureau and Tourism, as the favorite attraction to go to in Charleston, West Virginia, right?
Yep.
Congratulations to that, by the way.
Thank you.
So maybe you're living under a rock, or maybe you're new to Charleston or the Kanawha Valley and you're watching this and you're like, well, what the heck's the Capital Market? How would you explain, describe, discuss with new people the Capital Market?
So I like to think of the market really as kind of the soul of downtown Charleston.
Good way to put it.
And you've got a huge amount of variety all under one big umbrella. And so we have the indoor market, we have the outdoor market, and even if you don't buy a single thing at the market, it's a great place to just come and be.
I've done that before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe hang out with a cup of coffee.
Get a cup of coffee,
Yeah.
or pick up something for dinner. But it's constantly changing and evolving, and I think that's what makes it so special.
I don't want to leave them out, but I'm probably going to go down this rabbit hole. You come into the indoor. You mentioned coffee. Mia Cup is in there.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a good fish sandwich in there. Hull's chocolate is in there. You've got the wine shop is in there. Paul probably uses a lot of ingredients and things from the Purple Onion is in there. You mentioned, you can come by and get a bite to eat. Soho's is in there. The West Virginia shop is in there. Johnny's Meat Market is in there. How am I doing, by the way?
One more.
What do you got?
Sushi Garden.
Sushi Garden's in
Yep.
there. Okay.
Great job.
I probably wouldn't have got that because I'm not a sushi fan, but there's a lot of sushi fans out there.
Absolutely.
And then that's indoor.
I'm impressed.
And then, then you go outdoors, and we got tons of farmers, tons of gardeners. Grits is out there. Just talk about how cool and how seasonal that is, and how just a great place to come and just hang out and shop and have an ice cream.
Absolutely. So we have 4 distinct seasons in the outdoor market, and so we operate basically from April to December. And so we start in the spring, and spring is considered our flower season. So get some of your flowers, your ferns, and things like that. And then come summer, July 1st, we'll transition to our produce season. And then fall, we have pumpkins and mums, and of course Christmas trees come late November, December.
Always something, always great.
Yeah.
And you do a lot of community events there. We have the Market Mixer in October. I just got done talking about Let's Get Cooking. Now with the Stern Wheel Regatta coming back, the Capital Market's going to get involved in that. Before we talk about, I know something really exciting on Saturday, July the 2nd, All Fired Up. But before we talk about All Fired Up, the regatta gets started on Thursday night, June the 30th, and it's going to be 5 days, June 30th, July 1, 2, 3, and 4. It will culminate with symphony and the fireworks on Monday night, July the 4th. On July 2nd, you have All Fired Up. But on Wednesday night, is that June the 29th? Wednesday night, June 29th, from 6 o'clock to about 9 o'clock, the Capitol Market is hosting Pre-Gata.
Pre-Gata.
You got a regatta, but you got a pre-gata to get ready for the regatta.
Absolutely.
That's brilliant. I love pre-gata.
So-
I think that was your idea, by the way.
I'm going to give you credit.
No, I
for
think
it.
you had that one. Well, we were having a cup
I
of
love how
coffee.
this event came together.
Yeah,
It was just-
DJ EJ is going to do the music. You're going to have some food. It's going to be a ticketed thing, but really affordable. And just come out and kind of get your regatta vibes on before the regatta starts at the market. Pretty cool. Are you pumped?
I am so pumped. And I just, this is a great opportunity to really kick off what is going to be an amazing week in Charleston. And so we were thinking about it the other day, and we were kind of encouraging people to come take a stroll through the market before they roll down the river for regatta.
I look forward to listening to DJ EJ. He's going to be kind of up on the sidewalk.
He's the best.
there. He does a great job. Hashtag good vibes only. He only brings good vibes.
Absolutely.
And there's already a good vibe at the market. Now you mix that in with some great sound. You're going to have some wonderful food. You can stroll the outdoors. You can stroll the indoors. And just get your hype on for the regatta, which doesn't need a lot more, but it's always fun to keep it going and keep it hyping, as you mentioned. Just going to be a tremendous 5 days in Charleston, West Virginia. Saturday, part of the regatta. I love the logo for this one. I think we may even have it all fired up.
All fired up.
So we'll put that logo up there, and then without even, there it is. It says it right in the logo, Evan, a kids cooking competition at the Capitol Market. We've never done this.
We've never done it.
This is pretty cool. How's that going to unfold? What can families and children expect?
So there are going to be 8 teams from 12 to 16 years old competing.
How many in a team?
They're up to 4.
Up to 4 people.
Yep.
Okay.
And so basically they're going to be given a $100 market gift card in 1 hour to shop for their ultimate backyard.
Did anybody call
cookout.
Food Network? This is a show waiting to happen on the network.
Absolutely. So at the conclusion of that hour, they will bring their ingredients back to their station, and they're going to have 2 hours to prepare their ultimate backyard cookout feast. And at the conclusion, we're going to award prizes for best overall, most creative, and best use of seasonal ingredients. And so during that 2-hour time, we'll have Chef Paul sort of meeting with some of the teams, giving some of these teams cooking tips, what they can do, what they're doing well, what they can improve upon, and then we'll have a 3-panel jury award ceremony right there at the end.
Say it again. Age divisions, how many teams?
There'll be 8 teams,
8 teams.
Ages 12 to 16.
12 to 16, and they could have 2 or 3 or 4 on the team.
Yep, absolutely.
We want to try to get 3 and 4 on the team, don't we? Are registrations coming in? I mean, you've limited it to 8
We're
teams.
already at capacity.
Yeah, see, I knew that would be popular.
Yep.
And Chef Paul is going to be helping. They have an hour to shop, and then they have 2 hours to prepare.
Yep.
And almost like Let's Get Cooking, you're going to have places outside for them to prepare.
Absolutely.
And-
Yeah,
and-
each
and-
team will have a grill
and fire
and a prep
up and-
area, and there'll be
yeah.
a central pantry. So if there's ingredients that they need that they didn't pick up, we'll have them right there.
And then 3 panelists or 3 judges are going to kind of make the call. Do you know who the judges are, the panel?
I've got a couple of them lined
Okay,
up yet.
but you haven't. We're not privy to discuss who they are yet, right?
I know, I've got it on good authority that one of them is going to be the food guy.
Oh gosh, we all know the food guy. Don't we?
We know the food guy.
That guy can put some food away too, and he's about as big as a popcorn minute. I mean, how does he do it? That's his favorite question. How do you look as little as you look, food guy? Because he's just always wolfing down delicious food all over the city of Charleston.
Absolutely.
He does a great job.
It's a tough gig.
That's July the 2nd.
Saturday,
When
July
does it get
So
started?
that'll start at 11 a.m. and go to
11
2.
a.m. So it'll conclude about.
We're also
2-ish.
going to have EJ there for that.
Is he playing for that?
Yep,
Good vibes only, good food only. These kids are going to have a hoot. That's going to be big time for them.
Absolutely.
We got to make sure we get plenty of pictures, plenty of videos. Again, that's a Food Network show waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that on this show? I just said
You're
it,
the
didn't
boss.
I am the boss. Capitalmarket.net, is that your website?
Capitalmarket.net?
Capitalmarket.net. You can also call Evan or call some folks over there. 304-344-1905 is the telephone number if you have any questions. Maybe there's a question that I did not ask Evan. You want to ask it, so give him a call, 344-1905. And one more time, capitalmarket.net. I mentioned the market mixer already. That'll be the first or second Wednesday in October.
First Wednesday of October.
First Wednesday, October. I'm kind of looking way out there for you. But the summer's going to be great. We're getting through the flower season. The vegetables and produce will be up next. Lots of great events happening at the market. Evan, do you have a parting shot for the audience?
Just as always, we rely on community support to do what we do.
You know what I didn't bring up? It's you guys are a 501c3 charitable organization.
Mm-hmm. And you know, we're here to really support small business in the Kanawha Valley, and we can only do that with customers coming to shop the market. So we're incredibly grateful for all the support.
We applaud you. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, sir.
I know you're early, but you're doing a great job.
Thank you, sir.
It's a lot of fun. Capitalmarket.net, 344-1905. Give Evan a call. Mentioned they are a 501c3 charity, so if you're a corporation or organization who would like to support the good work that the market does, give Evan a call. Maybe be one of the sponsors for some of these upcoming summer events and even the Market Mixer. Whew, what a great show. Great highlights program today. I've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed it half as much as I have. That's all the time we have for on this edition of Highlights from the Heart of Our Community. As always, brought to you by Jim Strawn and Company, the Media Center, and HD Media. We'll see you on June 25th at Calvary Baptist. We'll see you in July at the Public Courts, and we'll see you at the Capital Market, and we'll see you next time right here on Highlights. Take care now.